In today's video, we're going to continue our 2019 NHL Prospect Review Series, and we're taking a look at the very strong prospect pool of the Montreal Canadiens, and that's coming up next. Welcome back here to Top Shelf Hockey. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to continue our 2019 Prospect Series today, and we're going to take a look at a very deep and talented prospect pool here for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, Marc Bergevin and his staff have done a terrific job here over the past few years, really stocking the prospect cupboard full of a lot of good young players, and they've got a variety of positions covered here. They have goaltending, defense, forwards. They really have a strong variety and a lot of depth at each part of it here. So determining the top 5 prospects was a little bit challenging, so you're definitely going to want to watch through till the end because there will be some honorable mentions here at the end here as well. I really used a combination here of when I think they're going to play, as well as what kind of impact and what kind of upside they have at the NHL level, at least how it looks as of today. So some of these players may not play right away where others may, so I certainly use that heavily in determining the order. You're also going to notice that these players will have a slide in the screen as I'm telling you about each prospect, and they're going to have some information including their stats and biographical information. All that information came courtesy of EliteProspects.com. It's an excellent resource when you want to find out information on all NHL prospects. Now let's get started here at number 5. I have 20-year-old defenseman Josh Brook, who was a 2017 second-round pick, right-shot defenseman, very well-rounded two-way guy with high-end puck-moving ability. Put up 75 points in 59 games played with this past year with the WHL's Moose Jaw Warriors. Also played for Team Canada at the World Junior Championships, putting up 2 assists in 5 games played. At that tournament, Brook played second pair minutes and was given more of a defensive assignment, oftentimes playing on the penalty kill and playing more of a shutdown role, and he actually did relatively well, which really helps show the fact that he really is a well-rounded two-way defenseman. He's definitely going to be playing pro hockey this coming season. Likely will play in the American Hockey League, but very well could see some time in Montreal. One of the younger defensemen that would be ahead of him on the depth chart would be defenseman Noah Juulsen. Juulsen has battled a lot of injuries here recently, so depending on his health and where he's at with his progression, they very well could see Brook in a limited opportunity. But Josh Brook certainly projects to be a potential top 4 defenseman for Montreal here sometime over the next couple of years before he earns himself a full-time role. Next up, at number 4, I've got goaltender Caden Primo, the son of former NHL player Keith Primo. He played U.S. college hockey at Northeastern, recently ending his college career and signing his entry-level contract here with the Montreal Canadiens. Now, last season, he had a terrific year, putting up a 25-10-1 record with a 209 goals against and a 933 save percentage. Absolutely phenomenal statistics there. He also helped Team USA win silver at the 2019 World Junior Championships. He started most of the games and certainly had a solid tournament. Now that he's signed his entry-level contract and left college, he's definitely going to be playing pro hockey this year, more than likely the American Hockey League. Many kind of wondered what the Habs might do here, that he might actually have a shot to rival for a backup role in Montreal, but they have since signed backup experienced goalie Keith Kincaid. So the Habs are likely going to have Price and Kincaid at the NHL level, and more than likely have Charlie Lindgren and Caden Primo here at the American Hockey League level. So I think when it comes to goaltending, they've certainly added some much needed depth, and with experience at the NHL level, they've got Lindgren, who's kind of still to be determined, I guess, if he's an NHLer or not. And then you've got Primo, who's the up and coming guy with a lot of potential here. The combination of Primo's physical and mental skills give him an NHL All-Star potential. He's still very young and has a ways to go before he'll be NHL ready, but he could turn out to be a huge draft steal for the Habs after they selected him way down in the 7th round of the 2017 NHL Draft. Should eventually become a backup here to carry Price in the near term, depending on how long they hang on to Keith Kincaid, with the possibility of becoming the starter sometime down the road. They certainly have a potential, at least, goaltender of the future with Caden Primo. He looks like he has a ton of future potential here, and we're excited to see just how well he can turn out and how much of a draft steal he'll turn out to be. Next up at number 3, I have the Habs' third best prospect here, Cole Caufield, the 2019 first rounder who slipped down and they were lucky to be able to snag here with the 15th overall selection. Definitely going to be a draft steal. I have a lot of confidence in his ability for his game to translate to the NHL here. Many teams pass on him due to his size. He's around 5'7", 165 to 170 pounds, but he does not play like it at all, and he's been a goal-scoring machine here. He's played through the United States National Team Development Program, often playing quite a bit here with number 1 overall selection Jack Hughes. So this one This will definitely be a key year for him to show that he does not need Hughes in order to put up some big numbers, but obviously those two offensive dynamos playing a lot together certainly enhanced each other's stats. There's no doubt about it. They were a great 1-2 combo, and it will be interesting to see them playing apart to see how they do without each other here. But he has the potential to be a game-breaking goal scorer with a terrific shot that's incredibly accurate. Caufield certainly seems to handle pressure as well. Oftentimes in big moments, he rises to the occasion here. He's a good puck handler, and even if he turns out to be a one-dimensional player like some people have called him here, which is another reason why I think some teams passed on him in the draft, that one dimension that he is so good at is the most important part of the game, and that's putting the puck in the net. So I certainly think he'll have an excellent shot of not only being an NHL player, but being a top goal scorer, playing top line minutes. So certainly the potential is there. Now he has commitment to play U.S. college hockey for the University of Wisconsin for the coming season. Of course, when these players go to the U.S. college hockey system, we really don't know how long they're going to play there. They could play 1 season, 2, 3. Really depends on when they feel they're ready to make the jump to the NHL. Depends on how that college season goes. So we can't really predict exactly what kind of timelines we're looking at to get Kol Caulfield into a Montreal Canadiens uniform and get him into the NHL. But it's going to be at least one more season. Regardless of when he makes the jump, though, to the NHL, the Habs have themselves a potential goal-scoring machine here for the future. Next up at number 2, we have Nick Suzuki, who was, of course, originally drafted by the Vegas Golden Knights, but acquired by Montreal in that Max Pacioretty trade. He certainly has top 6 forward written all over him based on his play so far in junior and in the World Junior Championships. He has a terrific high offensive upside. He's capable of playing both center and the wing, and honestly, because of all the younger players that they have at the center position, I think if Nick Suzuki is going to have a shot at making Montreal out of training camp this year, it's likely going to be on the wing. They've already got Kotkaniemi playing center. One of our other prospects we're going to talk about next year is a pretty solid centerman as well. So really, you throw in Philip Deneau and some other guys that they might want to kind of round out that experience level there. I think Nick Suzuki is likely going to start as a winger, but that's fine. We see plenty of guys who can play a playmaker like him and be a solid winger. Like look at Mitch Marner, for example, in Toronto. Doesn't score as much as he does set up as his line mates. Terrific playmaking winger. He has similar type of traits to a player like him. He's got great speed, great goal scoring abilities as well. He can finish when given the opportunity, but playmaking is usually his first train of thought. This past year in junior, he had a phenomenal season, one for the history books actually. On completion of the season, he was awarded the William Hanley Trophy Award for the OHL's most sportsmanlike player for a record-breaking 3rd consecutive year. I fully expect Suzuki to get a shot making the roster here at a training camp, but would not be shocked to see him spend some time in the American Hockey League to get the adjustment under his belt here to pro hockey. Wouldn't be surprising at all to see him maybe have a split season where he gets some opportunity in Montreal, but also does some seasoning in the AHL as well. But I guess we will see. A lot of that's going to depend on how his training camp goes, his preseason, and if he gets an opportunity right away, how he does with that. So I guess we'll see. But either way, another terrific offensive forward here for Montreal in the prospect pool. Now at number 1, we've got Ryan Poehling, who certainly made a major impact last year, getting his first NHL game under his belt here. The former 2017 first-round pick played his college hockey for St. Cloud State and certainly garnered a lot of attention following a stellar performance at last year's World Junior Championship for Team USA. He led all North American skaters with 5 goals and 8 points in 7 games. Poehling made another huge splash, as I mentioned here, playing his first NHL game, scoring a hat trick, and then scoring also the shootout winner to end the game as well. So he certainly had an amazing NHL debut. He's a very versatile forward. He plays a solid two-way game, very well balanced, pretty good skater with good acceleration, good size, strong on the puck. He's got excellent offensive vision to be both a playmaker and a goal scorer. Obviously, he can finish, as he showed in his NHL debut. Many kind of see Poehling as not necessarily being a first-line player, but obviously his recent offensive success between the World Juniors and his NHL debut might defy that and certainly prove people wrong. But it's really since he was drafted in 2017, many scouts have projected him to be more of a middle six type of center iceman, so number 2, number 3, who can play that solid two-way game but still have decent offensive output. And even if that's what he turns out to be longer term, he still has the potential to be an excellent player here for the Montreal Canadiens. So either way, like as I said here, Montreal is certainly loaded with prospects. Now, as I mentioned, we have a few honorable mentions, including defenseman Alexander Romanov, the Russian defenseman, certainly has progressed quite nicely. I know when he was drafted in the 2018 draft, some people kind of raised an eyebrow and questioned what kind of pick that was going to be, but really, ever since, he's really garnered a lot of attention and looks to be a really solid defenseman with two-way game here. Now, of course, the reason why for me that he didn't make the top 5 is he's not really clear exactly when he's going to play in the NHL. At this point, he has a KHL contract for one more season for the 1920 season, so he's definitely not going to be playing in North America in the Habs system or in Montreal for the coming year. And after that, it's not quite clear if he'll come over or not. Now, one thing that makes it a little tougher for some of these NHL teams to bring some of these guys over is when they sign their entry-level contracts, they're going to make a maximum, around $900,000, $925,000. And they can also earn bonuses to top that up for sure as well. But they have the opportunity to make more at that age in the KHL. So sometimes it's certainly trickier. And it would not be surprising, based on information I've read on this player, that he may extend his contract in the KHL for 1 or 2 more years beyond that. So it could be 2 to 3 seasons possibly before he even comes over. It could be sooner, but we don't know that yet. So that's the reason why I have him ranked a little lower, because the impact he has on his club may take a lot longer to feel depending on when he decides to leave the KHL. They also have another pretty solid defenseman as well, who's also unsigned and not quite clear when he's going to make the jump to North America, and that's another defenseman from Finland, Jesse Jalonen. He looks to be pretty solid, having a pretty good year over in Finland this past year, so we'll see how things develop with him. They also have forward Joel Teasdale, who's going to be interesting to watch his development. He just completed his junior career, ended up winning the Memorial Cup as well as the Quebec Major Junior League Championship with the Rouyn-Noranda Huskies. Had a terrific season. Of course, a lot of players do tend to have better years as they get older and once they're into their final season. So it'll be interesting to see how he makes the jump to pro hockey. More likely, obviously, he'll play in the American Hockey League for the first little while here, and we'll see how he does. But he certainly has had a terrific offensive game in junior, and I'm quite curious to see how that's going to translate over to pro hockey here at the American Hockey League level to start off. Those are your top 5 prospects, as well as some honorable mentions here for the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, as always, want to hear your thoughts, opinions down in the comments. Which of these prospects are you most excited for, and which ones do you think will have the most impact on this franchise here longer term? If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notification bell so you don't miss any future content, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.